webinar. I do understand that some people have had some issues signing in, but we're going to start and the webinar is being recorded. So welcome to this webinar, Modernizing EBS with Oracle APEX. And this is the second in a series of 3. So we previously looked at reimagining connectivity, and there's one on accelerating innovation with AI services, which we'll give the details for later. But this is looking at new possibilities for your EBS with Oracle APEX. So we're from Inoapps, and Inoapps is an Oracle-only service partner. So we implement and manage all Oracle technology and applications. Next slide, Abhinav. And my name's Deborah Lilly, and I look after customer success in Inoapps. And my colleague Abhinav, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, thanks, Deborah. Hi, I'm Abhinav. I am the Global Product Manager at Inoapps, looking after all our APEX extensions and products.
Brilliant. Okay, so today you can see from the agenda that we're going to cover quite a lot of things. I'm not going to go through the agenda. What we're going to do is start off by positioning APEX, showing you the things that we've done and things that we're thinking of. So APEX has been around for a while. If you're as old as me, it started off as HTML-DB, and it was something that was used traditionally by DBAs or developers that were in the database every day. And then in about 2019, a gentleman from the APEX development team, David Peake, he wrote a white paper on extending eBusiness Suite with Oracle APEX. And that document is kept up to date. So the current release, revision 3.03, is actually against EBS release 12. So there's the whole white paper talks about why it works, how it works, and the best things to do. And at Inoapps, we really recognize that. We recognize that this was a game changer for our EBS customers. And we have about 100 EBS customers globally. And so one of our very first acquisitions was a company called Indigo Tide, based in Scotland, that was all about APEX development. And that's gone from strength to strength. And now we have a large team that not only do APEX for our customers, but we write our own products as well. So if we move on to the next slide. Okay, so eBusiness Suite is written in Oracle Forms. And whilst Oracle Forms are still supported, they are not strategic to Oracle, and they're not used in many places. In fact, within Oracle's applications, this is the only place that they are used. They were designed for people to input data and look at transactional information, the very traditional professional user of an application. And that isn't how we work today. So there's none of the modern UI enhancements that you would expect. And all that Oracle have done with the Forms product is maintained it. It works, it runs, it's supported, but it's not strategic to them. And it's probably, you know, it doesn't give us the experience that we want in our modern applications today. APEX, on the other hand, is Oracle's go-to low-code tool. For rapid development, it gives us modern frameworks, including Redwood, which is the UI that is used in the Fusion applications. It's not quite the same technology, but it looks like the Redwood. And what that means is that anything that you do today in eBusiness Suite in APEX, you could create today to look like cloud. So if you're in a coexistence situation or you're planning to move to cloud in a few years, you can start to get used to and experience and benefit from that UI today. It says here built-in, sorry Abhinav, I just go back a quick second.
Sorry.
It says here that it has built-in integration capabilities. What it does is it generates us APIs, and that allows us to integrate easily with any other applications. So again, if we are coexisting or with any of the other systems that you might want, and it's much faster to develop than traditional forms. So lots and lots of organizations have used APEX to modernize and get these responsive apps that APEX has given us. And proof that this is strategic to Oracle and that it is going to continue to be developed, and Abhinav is going to talk about some of that development in a second. Oracle bought Cerner for their health applications a few years ago, and very, very quickly said that the de facto low-code development tool for Cerner, which is extended in a different way, but the low-code tool for that would be APEX. And you see more and more applications being delivered from Oracle using APEX, so it certainly is strategic. So Abhinav, can you talk us through some of those innovations that have happened in the last few years?
Yeah, sure, Deborah. Thank you. So if you look here in what you've captured is a snapshot of the last 5 years. So obviously APEX has been along much longer than this. But if you focus on what has happened in the last 5 years or so, you'll see a rapid year-on-year increase in features that Oracle is rolling out. They've aligned the releases to Oracle Fusion, like the 20.1, 20.2. And with every release, if you look at what they're offering, this low-code tool is becoming much more powerful. If you focus on the things that they have done, as Deborah mentioned, they've done REST support for third-party integrations. So it's a two-way integration platform now. So yes, you can create REST APIs, but you can also directly consume existing APIs from third parties. They've offered native PDF printing, again, for users who want to print things off in PDF format. They've got a solution, a primitive solution, but they have something in place that you can use out of the box. Approvals. So one of the other things is task lists and workflows. So EBS has a very complex workflow structure, but then if you're extending EBS or if you're building something of your own, you want a little workflow that you could embed into it. APEX has a solution for it. Web applications, mobile web applications, so something called progressive web app. So everything that you build in APEX is built on universal themes, so it's adaptive to any screen size or layout that you want to render it on. Again, out of box with it. And then lastly, in the last few releases, they've started embedding AI into APEX, so you can now do AI assisted development. You can connect to any model, and I think we're going to cover a lot of AI in our next webinar. But here are some of the high level features, as you can see, that Oracle have rolled out in the last 5 years.
So I want to start to see how we're doing this, and on the next slide you're going to talk about dashboards. And I remember walking into a manufacturing customer, when we first bought Tier 1 in the US, and walking in and seeing in their manufacturing plant dashboards all over the walls where it was showing them what orders were coming in real time in a visual format.
Yes, so as you say, a picture is worth 1,000 words. So everybody loves a chart, everybody loves a graph. You know, if you come into a dashboard and you see some shining graphs that are moving real time, what more could you ask for? And this is where APEX excels because it sits on the Oracle database. It's part of the Oracle database, Oracle ecosystem. So which means it's part of your EBS footprint. So because it's sitting on the EBS database, as you can see on my screen, some snapshots from the work that we have done with customers. We have provided them with real-time business intelligence portals where these things update in real time. I think these ones that I've got for this particular webinar is from an oil and gas customer. They were trying to track their oil fields and oil wells, and these dashboards were quite important to them because they could make decisions very quickly. And then this was based on data that was sitting in EBS, and also some data that's coming in from third party. So we were bringing in those data together and putting a nice little UI and dashboard on top. That again, it's not a static chart. These are all interactive. You can drill into them, so you can actually understand the numbers that make up these charts as well. So that gives real power in the hands of the user to be able to analyze their data, slice and dice things. And the way Apex does it is you don't have to code a lot of these things. So there are ready-made widgets. So you get dashboards, you get graphs, charts. You just basically drag and drop. Again, low code platform, you drag and drop, give it a source, and it works itself out. So it's really powerful what Apex has to offer in this space, especially sitting on top of EBS data. And as you mentioned, visualizing those orders coming in, those tickets being raised, those, any form of metric KPI that you want to track on this.
So you said on here that user adoption is high. I mean, it is so much easier to consume information that's being pushed to you that's very visual than having to go in and query up a form to get that information.
Indeed.
Yeah, it's just a game changer. Once people move this way, they want to stay this way.
And also the speed of development, as I say. So it's so easy to drop things in. So if you wanted a new dashboard, it really literally takes minutes to create things. So
Brilliant. Okay. So you said that it's in your database, and then when I was talking about history, I said that the Apex, it's part of the database. We'll talk about the costing in a minute, but it's part of the database. And initially, there was a pushback on it because it was seen as something that just developers used or data DBAs used when they wanted to look at data, and uh, then there was an issue about, how was it supported? What if Oracle withdrew it? It had a slow burn to get going, right? But once it did get going, as I said, after David's white paper, then the concern was, would it scale, right? It was okay for doing noddy little forms replacements, but would it actually scale for you to build an enterprise grade application?
I think, yeah, we have, as I said, Inoapps have been here in this game for long, and we have done a lot with customers from all scale, and we have proven track record to say that Apex can definitely scale to enterprise grade strength. So what I'm going to talk about today is a business case that we had on one of our EBS customers. So this is, as you can see on my screen, so we had a construction customer in the UK, and within construction, renting is quite a normal thing. That obviously you don't buy every JCB that you're going to use. You're not going to buy every digger you're going to use. So rentals is quite a big part of construction industry, and EBS didn't really have a native solution for renting. EBS is very good if you want to buy things, you to sell things, but then what about renting? And then within renting, again, there are complexities when you go to every region. So for example, in the UK, for our customer that we are dealing with, the use cases were quite peculiar. They had 5-day calendars for renting. They had 7-day calendars for renting. There are different nuances to each equipment they rent. Some of them come with a man who operates it. So there's so much in there that EBS couldn't handle, and that's where we then extended EBS to build out a solution in Apex dedicated for the rentals business. Now, what that entailed was obviously some complex screens, as you can see on my screens, as you can see on my screen. But then it was so seamless for the users to be able to manage their rental business from that point onwards. So again, sitting on top of EBS, we can see real-time orders. So if there is a rental request, you can see it flow into these screens very quickly. Users loved these screens because they could come in and they do their day-to-day jobs without even going into EBS, because they would come in here, they'll see there's a new request for a new rental hire for a JCB. They could then go and reach out to a supplier, standard procurement. But then again, so you can see there's a handshake between Apex application that was built and EBS, but the data flows so nicely between the two that it just works. And then the scale of this thing, it ran for almost 5 years before obviously the customer moved to cloud. But then they could bill over 5,000, I think, rental orders every night. Now again, with the industry, you want to bill every night, so they almost bill every day, every order, because they want to accrue the cost. So they don't want to reach the end of the month and then find out, oh, I've now incurred a month's worth of cost. They want to see real time cost of that JCB sitting on that site. And again, Apex, we built a solution in Apex that gave them that flexibility. They gave them that capability to then interface into EBS, receipts, invoices. We could do projects, transactions. So everything was so seamless. And then on top of that, security, everything was controlled through roles and responsibilities embedded within core EBS security format. So, there is everything is just following the same framework, but then still be able to deliver such a bespoke, complex system in Apex that is user friendly was a game changer for us. So that's why I say, Apex is not just a developer's tool; it is pretty much a business's go-to.
It does work at enterprise grade, and we've got lots of examples of products that we've written that are used by multiple customers, and it works. Enterprise, it is enterprise grade. So we've touched on cost a few times, and I said that it was a slow burn, and part of that is because there is no additional cost. Apex is a no-cost option in the database. So as long as you have a full use database, and I say that carefully because there were a couple of people in the very, very early days of eBusiness Suite that didn't have a full use license. But as long as you have a full use database license, there is no additional cost for Apex. And that was one of the concerns. People were worried about, well, if it's free, that means Oracle can remove it. They can't. It is an integral part of the database. And so to develop in this, there is no additional cost for the tool. There is no additional cost for the running. And that compared to other cloud development tools, other ways of extending, is a very attractive proposal. So as I say, there is no cost for the tool. It is part of your database. And like Abhinav mentioned several times, it's part of your database, where your data is. It knows your structures. It understands your database. It is part of it.
Yep.
Okay, so we mentioned that one of the things that it does is it gives us the Redwood UI. We can have others, but the template that of choice would be the Redwood one. You can have the classic EBS like one, but we're here talking about modernizing. So we probably would want to go towards the Redwood. One of the things that we talk about to our customers who are thinking about moving to cloud is, if you do your extensions in Redwood today in Apex, you are getting used to what you would have later on. But also, when you move to Fusion, if you still need that extension, although whilst it's not going to be in your Fusion database, it will be coexisting with it. And so you can have a seamless move for your end users. The other thing about the way that the UI works is, again, Abhinav mentioned that it's responsive. So it doesn't care whether you're on a smartphone or a tablet or a PC, it will render the right way that you need it to. And that is so much easier than the way that we had to design. Well, we couldn't do forms for smartphones. There weren't smartphones when forms were invented. But there is no problem with Apex. It just gives you that user experience. So let's look at some of the power that's behind this Abhinav.
Yeah, so as I say, just because it's free doesn't mean it can't do a lot of things. Obviously, I've talked about dashboards and things. That's on the face of it. But then if you look at the periphery of other innovations that Oracle is covering in here, So REST APIs, again, I can't stress enough in the world today where everything is SaaS, everything is third-party packages available. Apex becomes a no-brainer because it has got the ability to connect natively. It has got the ability to expose APIs for other parties to connect natively. So again, it's giving you both inbound and outbound capabilities to deal with APIs, which makes it really powerful. Excel, like this is a topic that everybody loves. Every business runs on Excel, no matter how advanced it is. There are people who love their Excel. There are business processes which are running in Excel, and there's nothing wrong with running them in Excel, but the governance obviously that comes with Excel is not there. But then what Apex allows us to do is very easily take that Excel and put it into a system. Now, because Apex comes with native support for Excel, so it can actually interpret your Excel, it can read your Excel with absolutely no extra line of code. We have built, we have actually worked with a lot of customers to move that process offline into an online system. So now your data is in a database. Now you can actually report on it, you can dashboard on it, you can do a lot more with that data just by a simple application that lets you move that Excel from somebody's PC into a system. PDF printing, again, BI Publisher obviously is a choice of tool for EBS customers, but even if you were to print something, Apex has the options to do it natively, so you can actually print PDFs from whatever you're building. It also has pre-built connectors to things like Apex Office Print, which is again a third-party tool that that Oracle recommend if you wanted to use. But then printing pixel perfect reports, BI Publisher's equivalent offering from Apex is PDF. Emails. This is again quite a crucial thing. So if you are building any kind of system, there are going to be notifications that need to be sent. Apex has inbuilt capability to set up your SMTP servers configuration. You can issue emails out of an Apex system again with very little configuration. And these emails could be sending invoices through attachments or sending email reminders, approval notifications, job failure, system alerts, password resets. So anything that you can think of, you can very easily build in Apex. It even has an email template configurator, so you can template your emails, you can configure your emails. Again, everything is configurable, so you don't have to code anything. It's all just there. And workflows, as I've touched before, takes it to the next level because then you can actually build enterprise grade applications where you can build these workflows. You can have automations and things. These workflows can talk to APIs, reach out to a human, or just automate your tasks, run jobs and things. So it's really powerful. Other than the UI side of it, there's still so much to Apex that makes it really powerful in terms of what you want to do.
Okay, so
Right.
what else can we do with Apex?
Yeah. So I want to talk about mobile because this is something that we have been doing as Inoapps as a business. So I've taken our case study in this. Although we have enterprise applications for our customers in construction, but this is really good one. So we as a business, Inoapps, use Apex heavily for our internal systems. So we have a system that we have built, homegrown system to do expenses. So our employees, they travel and then end of the month, we expect them to claim their expenses. So we have an Apex app. You can come onto your desktop. There's an app that you have to upload your receipts to and code it in to say which project you want to expense it to. It's quite cumbersome. So few years ago, we thought, okay, let's get an iOS app. Obviously, we didn't have the skills, so we had to then partner with a third-party provider to build us an iOS app. And then it was fine in the beginning, but obviously as requirements grew, with dealing with another company to build your software to your spec is a challenge, as everybody knows. But then with iOS, we had a problem because every time Apple updated their OS, we had to then go and pay more to get that app updated, even though our use case was quite simple. We just needed an app that could do an expense. The maintenance of that was ongoing and it was just too much. And then Android was out of picture because we didn't have an Android native app at the time. So when Apex launched their progressive web app framework, so progressive web apps is not something that Oracle have invented. It's been along for a long time, but then Oracle have adopted that within their technologies now. So when Apex was enabled to do progressive web apps, we thought, well, that's our opportunity to actually ditch the native apps, and just recode our expenses in a way that the same application appears on the desktop, but it also appears on the mobile. And you can install this as an app on your phone. So everybody now, all our employees can go onto their mobile phones, really simple UI, they can do their expenses. Everybody has an app that they can do their expenses in. So it becomes a very good use case for people who are traveling, because you don't want to keep your receipts in your pocket till end of the month to then click a photo to then upload somehow to emails to then get to your desktop. You can do it through your phones very easily. And the cherry on the icing, and again, I'm not going to disclose too much, but this is something we discuss on our next webinar, is we then actually embedded an AI feature within this app. So now, as you can see on my screenshot, if I have to claim a Papa John's pizza, I just take a picture and the Apex plus AI can interpret all of it and create an expense for me. So I don't have to even tell what it is for, how much it is for. Again, baby steps, but I think adoption of Apex and then PWAs has enabled us to get to that point where we are now able to leverage some of latest Oracle's AI integrations.
Yeah, so we actually integrate this with Fusion ERP because that's what we use, but it would work equally well with EBS. And
Indeed.
that's the power of this, is that the Apex apps just talk to other systems. The APIs allow that to happen. Okay, on to your next one.
So I thought, let's not just get bogged down with EBS or the use cases I have talked about here. So that's why I wanted to reiterate the point that if you have an Oracle database, think big. If you have an Oracle database, you may or may not be an EBS customer, or you may have an EBS plus another system that runs an Oracle database. Think Apex. There's anything you're doing in the database, you could do it in Apex with a much better UI and easier to interface with. One of the use cases, and it's talking about legacy tools, we've got some of the customers who have signed up for this webinar as well, who are actually going through on this journey with us, where they have over the years acquired different data platforms to do their data cleansing and master data management. They are now reducing their footprint because they realize that actually they could recode a lot of that in Apex themselves and not having to manage and maintain these various systems to talk to each other to do data synchronization. Because of all the things that I've just mentioned, Apex has enabled them to consolidate all of that into just one platform. And then my last point around this is not just a web UI tool, it is also equally a powerful integration layer, because it can talk to APIs, it can two-way talk to systems. You could integrate, bring data across, collaborate, and do a lot more with Apex. So yeah, just there's a lot to it that, to your imagination, that you can do with Apex.
So I want to finish with, and I hope that what we've done is shown that there is a lot of different things that you can do with Apex to build out your EBS. And we've talked about, don't stop there. There are other things that you can do with Apex. Once you've got those skills, across your enterprise, there's plenty that can be done. And we did mention before that that we have written a number of products that we sell to our customers. We talked about the rentals one, but our most popular one is actually our EBS archiving solution. So where customers have moved off of EBS, rather than just keep a read-only system in the corner that costs money, we have a solution. So we take the database, and then the database has Apex in it, and then we build out from Apex this wonderful archiving solution, which we now have AI in. But again, we'll talk about that in the next session. So yeah, we use it for enterprise grade solutions that we sell. We use it to modernize our customers' EBS. And there are so many examples of how you can take something that today works transactionally and you can turn it into a much more powerful visual and easily to consume by any other system process in your organization. So I hope that that's given you a flavour of how we can modernise EBS. Janie, do we have any questions?
Yes, we do have some questions. We have, can you use APEX for EBS to replace Oracle Application Framework forms? I'm not sure if you answered that already. But...
We
Yeah, so
haven't.
for OAF forms, yeah. So yes, you can. Yeah, I mean, OAF was another technology. I don't think Oracle flew with it for too long. And anything web, yes, you can do it in Apex. And personally, we have seen that it's a much easier skill set to maintain because it's just PL SQL behind the back for most of it. So yes, it would be possible to replace your OAF with Apex.
So Oracle brought out the Oracle Application Framework, not so much to replace forms, but to move forward. So they left forms as they were and brought in OAF. And then in the Fusion applications, they had a slightly improved version called Application Developer Framework. But both of those, because of this need to be agnostic to the device that you're using, they stopped being strategic. And Apex is definitely strategic, and so you can definitely replace OAF with Apex. Good question. Any others?
Yeah, somebody asking, how can you get trained in Oracle Apex?
So Apex is one of the best communities that Oracle has. And if you just Google Oracle Apex and pick the Oracle answer, there is a whole community online. They have some amazing, what they call hands-on labs. So you can go in and do, try things out and have a go. Some range from very short, and then there are some longer ones. But one of the things that we do when we're working with our customers is we do a knowledge transfer basis. So we might, write the first one for them, show them what we're doing, show them the skills, help them with the next one, QA, possibly the third one, and then let them do it. We have a construction company in the US who went through that process, and then at the end, Apex became their go-to low-code development tool for all of their applications, not just for for their Oracle applications. So yeah, there is loads of training available, but we recommend with our customers, because it is so straightforward, a knowledge share basis where we start the program for them and leave them with the skills to maintain and carry on.
Thank you. There's another question come in here. Somebody asking, will the presentation be saved and available for replay? Yes, it will. It will be sent out to you tomorrow, and you'll be able to share that recording with colleagues as well. And there's just one final question. You mentioned emails a few times. How does that work?
Okay, so it's quite a simple answer. So Apex allows you to configure, basically lets you configure an SMTP server. So we use, for example, for our all our internal stuff, we just use our Microsoft 365 licenses. So you can just set up an email address on your email relay provider, put in the details, and it's actually as simple as that. So basically just say, that's my email server I want to use, and Apex does the connection and does the email header and everything else. So it's just a config under the admin. So yeah, it's that easy. And there's lots of documentation. One good thing, as Deborah also mentioned, because it's been along for so long, it's been here for so long, and such a big community, there's loads of documentation from Oracle that are really good. If you follow them step by step, you can configure most of it.
That's very good, yeah. Okay, so if we go to the next slide, also on our website, on our website, we've got lots of blogs about Apex, different things that we've been doing, looking at AI, the AI that Oracle provides, the AI that we've been adding. So lots of blogs there to read, and just like this one, some of them come with webinars, so you can catch up on previous webinars. Next slide, Abhinav. So we mentioned a few times the next webinar, which is the third in this series, and we're going to look at the just do a summary of Ask EBS, which is the AI that Oracle have documented for you. It's not actually, they don't actually deliver it. There's some work that you have to do to set it up, but there's a white paper to go with that. We're just going to give a summary on that because we did a webinar earlier in the year doing that in detail. But we want to show you other ways of consuming some of the Oracle AI services using APEX and bringing this into EBS. And there's some quite clever things that we're doing that I think you'll find very interesting. So with this incredible tool that we've got here with APEX, we can then go off and use the Oracle AI services, and we'll show you some of those on the next one. And how we can make all of this faster, use the AI to make it faster.
Sorry, I click somewhere.
Okay, no, that's fine. And then the final slide that we've got there, if we go to the final slide. So we were at Oracle AI World and we collected a lot of data from EBS customers that we spoke to, and it was showing us some really interesting trends. So we're going to keep that survey open till the end of December, and we'd love you to take part and tell us what you're doing with EBS. And then we will share those trends and things that we've found in both a paper and a webinar at the start of the year. There's a QR code here, but the link will also be in the email that you get as a follow-up. So I hope you found this useful. I hope that it's given you food for thought. And if you've got any questions or want to have a discussion, just contact us and we'll happily have a conversation with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.